Today I'm going to talk about the various cards in Master Duel right now that could probably be banned or limited in order to make the ranked experience more balanced. If it is something you enjoy, be sure to subscribe to this channel for more Master Duel and Yu-Gi-Oh content in general. Now I understand this type of video very often gets people mad. You build a deck and you're like, I don't want this hit, I don't want this changed, I just want everything to stay exactly the same, just play around it. But the fact of the matter is that Yu-Gi-Oh consistently has ban lists, and so it is very likely that there will be a ban list at some point in this game. You don't want your format to be exactly the same, and the leaked cards we see are coming up soon seemingly also really don't do anything to change the format. So here are some of the cards that will probably be considered when making this format a more healthy or balanced experience. First of all, we have Rongo. Now, I play Phantom Knights, and the next time I have UR crafting material, this is probably going to be the card that I'll craft because it's just that incredibly powerful. It's now a running meme on my Twitch where people ask me, where's Rongo? Why aren't you playing Rongo? I just don't have it. This card basically tells your opponent you do not get to play the game, end of story. It is also banned in the real game for a very good reason. It is just the type of floodgate card that a given combo deck has access to and then just completely ruins the game the second it's summoned. I'm not sure why this card made it into the game. It honestly makes no sense to me, but with that being said, I'm pretty sure this is one of the big boogeymen that they will take out if there comes a ban list. Next we have True King of All Calamities. That's right, VFD. This card again is like a question mark how it even got into the game, and while right now, kind of like Rongo, most people aren't complaining about these cards because there's other archetypes that are so incredibly powerful that they even overshadow them on ladder. The second they are able to be made by a powerful deck or other things get hit, these two cards are just instantly gonna warp metas. Whenever these were legal and a deck was able to make it easily, that deck just rose to the very top. Right now, Virtual World can make this, and the only reason we're really not seeing it that much is because Drytron and Brigade can obviously do stuff that's equally unfair, and perhaps even more consistently so. But once again, the second we have a deck that makes this thing, it just becomes the highest tier unbreakable bullshit you can imagine, and for that reason, once again, in the real game, this thing is banned. Now next, we should probably address the decks that are actually running rampant, because while Rongo and Calamities are absolutely crazy cards that really shouldn't be legal if we're being honest for just 1 second, and I have those decks even built, so I understand why someone who has it built is like, oh no, don't ban it, but like seriously, these cards are ridiculously unfair. With that being said, they are not dominating the meta right now, so I think it's important that we do talk about the decks that actually really need a hit in order to make this, more fair, more balanced, and again, freshen up the format, because you don't want to play Drytron mirrors forever. That just sounds like a pretty bad idea. So yes, Drytron probably needs a hit. Now, I am no Drytron god, I don't claim to be, so I mostly just listen to other people when it comes to what the correct hits would be. Eva is probably the most obvious one everyone addresses, and beyond that, of course, also Ben 10. So some type of hit on Eva and Ben 10, and maybe even Herald of Ultimateness, is probably enough to make this deck not as ridiculous anymore. And as we just saw on the YCS this weekend, Drytron still did great even with those hits, so it's not like the deck or the engine is dead when you take it out, it's just no longer ridiculously unfair. Now, I don't know to which extent you need to hit, like maybe it's good to ban Eva and Ben 10 to 1 and Herald to 0, I don't know. Maybe some Drytron gods who aren't biased can tell me in the comments down below what better hits are, but it's very clear that some hit to Drytron is necessary. The board that Drytron currently makes is probably the most powerful one in the game, in my opinion, because while Calamities and Rongo are obviously powerful, a Calamities is still really easy to out, if you just main board it to out, whereas there's really not much you can do about a Drytron board. You almost need a lava golem already just to out that. Next on the list of absolutely incredible decks, we of course have Brigade, and within Brigade we have two different variants. We have the Zodiac variant and we have the Lyrilusk variant. Now in the real game, Brigade mostly got creeped out because they just hit the engine's Zodiac and the engine Lyrilusk by hitting Cymorg, and then Brigade on its own really wasn't that incredible anymore. So I think the same should probably happen in this game. I think rather than starting to hit specific Brigade cards, you might want to look towards hitting the Zodiac cards somehow, and the Lyrilusk cards somehow. Again, maybe Cymorg. And then Power Creep can fix the Tri-Brigade issue as a whole. But again, maybe you're a Tri-Brigade fanatic and you can let me know what you think would be the better hit there. I definitely do not think hitting Tri-Brigade by itself is fine, because then you just start flopping Zodiac into other decks, and maybe that will be just as crazy once you get rid of Drytron and so forth. Finally, we have all the crazy floodgates. Now, in a best of 3, something like Skill Drain or Eldritch as a whole is not as big of a deal, because people can just side, spell, and trap hate, and usually, for that reason, we see Eldritch decks and so forth really not do much. I think this YCS we saw like, what, 1 Eldritch stop, or was it more? I don't know, when it was playing the Brave engine probably as well and so forth. So Eldritch by itself, we really never see winning major events. But because it is best of 1, of course the ladder is way more full of it, because you don't have a side deck, so you can't out all of those crazy floodgates and the full, you know, set 5 boards. So for that reason, assuming that our ladder stays best of 1, I think certain floodgates should be hit instead. Now, some people could say, oh, we should just hit Eldritch, but then people will just play the next trap deck. I don't really feel like hitting one of the Eldritch traps fixes the issue. You know, there will just be a next Skill Drain, Vanity's Emptiness, Imperial Order type deck. Beyond that, Imperial Order is just a crazy card. Imperial Order should probably not even be a thing. It's a random one-off I win button comparable to Soul Charge, though obviously not as good as that. And especially in best of 1, it should probably just not be a thing. So I'd say you could hit Skill Drain in some way, whether it's to 1 or to 0. Imperial Order banned, and then Vanity's also banned. This should make it so you don't have the ridiculous trap decks running around where you're like, well, do I start putting in Lightning Storm, Twin Twisters, Harpy's Feather in my main just to hit these somehow? Or do I really not care and just, you know, either pick off their traps gradually, which you can do, but not every deck can? Or do you just accept that you're gonna just scoop to these decks? Overall, to me, hitting Eldritch isn't the solution. Hitting the crazy floodgates is. But again, you gotta ask yourself which floodgates are hittable and which are not. Like, if you hit Skill Drain, which is probably the most unfair one that's currently at 3, well, they'll just play Rivalry and Goes Unmatched and Peekaboo. And are you gonna hit all of those? I don't think so. So I'm not really sure, but I think we should probably start with at least Imperial Order and Vanity's gone, and then maybe Skill Drain as well. But I'd love to hear your opinions about what to do in the trap department. So those are my first thoughts as to what we could be seeing on a ban list in Master Duel. Do let me know your thoughts. Maybe there's a deck I forgot. Maybe there's a given deck that's actually really fucking crazy that also needs a hit and that I just didn't mention. Prankits and Virtual World are definitely strong as well, though if you take away Calamities, Virtual World is no longer that scary until they get like all of the new cards. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe, and I will see you soon. Ciao.